Joining me are Sky News contributors James Bolt and Evelyn Rae. James, I wasn't aware that our government now carries 3 flags wherever they go, all over the world. Were you aware that that was happening?
I wasn't aware. And look, I think they're doing this for good-hearted reasons. I think they're trying to make profound statements that speak to their ideologies. But at the same time, it puts out an image of Australia that makes me feel a bit queasy, which is a nation divided. Like, if we can't have one single flag that we can all rally behind, then how do we have like a unified country, right? Social cohesion is such a big talking point this week, but we can't have a symbol that unites a country.
Absolutely. And Evelyn, I would have thought it's kind of confusing for people internationally. I mean, you see the American flag, you know exactly what it is, but then what are the other 3 flags? One of them is that, I mean, it's confusing.
Yeah, look, I actually don't think we can overlook just how divisive this display actually is, because what it's saying is that the Australian flag doesn't represent everyone. You know, that Aboriginals, that Torres Strait Islanders perhaps are not real Australians. At least it might come across that way to people, you know, across the pond. You know, it's sort of implying a message that they are not part of our nation in the same way that the descendants and settlers of convicts are. You know, they have their own flag, they have their own symbol. I mean, what's next? Their own drinking fountain? This is how ridiculous it is. You know, the Australian flag should not represent some, it should represent all. And more than confusing, I think it's really unhelpful. Like James said, you know, that this at the moment, you know, we are so divided as a nation. It's unhelpful doing things like this. We have so many problems that we need to deal with. Nations within nations will never and can never work, and putting that message forward on the world stage is a little bit embarrassing as well.
Yeah, I reckon you're absolutely right. And I think you're right, James, that they're literally waving their ideology everywhere they go with this stuff. It's just incredible. Italy has sent a Navy boat to assist Greta Thunberg in her moment of need. Her pro-Palestine flotilla headed for Gaza reports that it's been attacked overnight in the Mediterranean. And I know you're wondering, what sort of attacks? Well, activists reported that someone had hacked into the ship's radios and started playing ABBA music at full volume. James, you're laughing. I would be radioing for assistance as well.
No, look, this is an aggressive new marketing strategy for the flotilla that I think they should really embrace. I mean, a flotilla full of activists, Greta Thunberg's there, heading to Gaza. It's a bit of a buzzkill, but you throw ABBA in, suddenly we're talking Mediterranean cruise. And I think that is a way you can really attract a bit more global attention, a bit more peace and love, and even some conservatives can come along too, because who doesn't love ABBA?
I think it'd take a little bit more than ABBA to get conservatives on that flotilla. But you make a joke of it, and I think appropriately, because, Evelyn, the whole thing is a bit of a joke, isn't it?
Oh, look, Greta is honestly a caricature of herself at this point in time. Nobody takes her seriously, but I think it's these exact stunts that she relies on to keep her name in the news. You know, I mean, there are plenty of issues back in her homeland of Sweden that she could be, you know, addressing, such as mass immigration, all of the migrant crimes, abortion, you name it. The list is endless. But she doesn't actually care about any of those things, does she? Because, you know what, those things don't give her global coverage. You know, they don't give her a Netflix documentary series or celebrity status or a book deal. You know, Greta needs desperately, apart from a new hairdresser, a good dose of reality. I don't think ABBA's going to give it to her. I don't think this little cruise is going to give it to her. And unfortunately, I think that all of us here across the world who are normal are going to have to witness more and more of these ridiculous stunts the more that we keep giving her airtime. I'm sorry, but ABBA is only the beginning. It's going to end up far worse, I think.
Well, I just wondered, in terms of Greta's motivation, whether money might be involved somewhere, or maybe that's just the tune.
I was thinking it's a Waterloo. Damn it, stuffed it up. Waterloo moment. Oh, well.
I did that gag earlier, actually.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. So clearly you weren't watching earlier, James, and now you're stealing my jokes.
I'm 0 for 2.
Donald Trump told people at Charlie Kirk's funeral that he really doesn't like his enemies, and he's taken a brutal swipe at his predecessor, Joe Biden, in a newly unveiled White House Walk of Fame. It features a series of gold-framed photographs of past US presidents, but the portrait of what should be Joe Biden is instead a photo of an auto pen. This is poking fun at the claim Joe Biden repeatedly used the auto pen to sign things, making signatures, particularly on pardons, invalid. All right, James, I've got to ask you, I think this is funny, but is it right?
It is funny and it's not right. But what I love about this story is the auto pen controversy was all about, okay, who's really in charge here? Is Joe Biden in charge, or are the people around Joe Biden in charge? When I look at that, I can say for certainty that Donald Trump is in charge of the White House, because only this kind of stunt can come from one man, and it's Donald Trump. No one else has the audacity to come up with, let's replace an important portrait of Joe Biden with a scandal. So Trump, we know this is the president. He is in full control of his agenda.
Absolutely. We're watching it again there. It is pretty funny when you're going through all the portraits and then you get to that. Evelyn, I've got a theory about Donald Trump. The guy is able to smash things, but the person who smashes things is almost never a uniter. And I actually don't think Trump will ever bring America together. I think he'll destroy the hold of leftist ideology, but then someone else will have to come along after him to unite the country. Do you think that's fair?
Yes, look, I do think there is truth to that, but I think it's important to remember that he was elected, on a unified platform. He was cooperating with RFK, who's a Democrat, with Tulsi Gabbard, who is a Democrat, and with Elon Musk until about 5 minutes ago was a Democrat. I think the problem isn't necessarily all Trump. I think it's the left starting to believe their own lies about him. They have literally demonized him so much and convinced Democrats or anyone who is not a Republican that Trump is the literal enemy of America. I think under previous, presidents, Republicans and Democrats, they've always been able to come together, and unite under the American flag for, a joined enemy. Especially after we saw 9/11, you had Democrats and Republicans come together in the wake of that and move forward united. But I think that that's almost impossible under Trump because of what I previously mentioned, which is that they see the enemy as not an exterior threat now, but an interior threat. And they think that it's Trump. He's literally the devil and they're out to get him. So of course they're not going to unify under that. But look, I just have to say about the photo frame there, he is the troll king, and it is because of that he will smash the leftist ideology. And I think that's an important tool for us to have right now. And I would love to have a troll king of Australia. So James, if you would like to volunteer, I will fully support you with that mission.
I'm just not sure which James you're talking to. We've got 30 seconds left. I'll give you the last word, James. Ridicule and mockery is a great way of destroying arguments, and Trump is, whether appropriate or not, he makes his point through humour repeatedly, and it's pretty rare actually for politicians to do that. It's
definitely rare for politicians. You think back to Winston Churchill as probably the last leader who could really punch someone and lead. Donald Trump's got the punch. Bit worried about the lead. Definitely not a Churchill figure, but I think, the next guy will hopefully be a bit more unifying.
Absolutely. James, Evelyn, thanks so much for joining me on the program tonight.